Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to integrate iOS keychain inside Godot game engine using Swift Godot. So we will be creating an iOS plugin for this. So if you don't know, keychain, it is basically used to store sensitive data like password. Make sure you do not store large amount of data in keychain, otherwise you might get an error. So only sensitive data needs to be stored. So yeah, let's get started. So first, as usual, you would require a macOS and you would require Xcode installed. You can download it from the Apple App Store. And here I have just created one empty folder called Godot, because inside this folder we will be creating three separate projects. One is the iOS library, one is the Godot project, and third, when we export the iOS project from Godot. So just for organization sake, I have created one separate folder called Godot. You don't have to name it Godot, you can name it whatever you feel like. Anyways, let's get started. So here I have Xcode opened. I will just click on create new project. Sorry, not create new project, I have messed it up at the very start. Just open Xcode. Okay, just click on file, new, package, select multi-platform, select library, click next. Also, at the time of me recording this video, I am using Godot 4.3.0, which is the latest, but if you want, you can use whatever higher version of Godot available as well. So here you can see inside the Godot folder I'll create this library. I'll name it as my library. You can name it whatever you feel like, but do remember this name, because we will be using this name in lot other places as well. Next, you just have to go to this particular URL over here. So I'll just open this URL. So here you can see inside this URL, you just have to so we have already done all this step, so we have to add this dependency section. So this is kind of like a cheat sheet for me, so I'll just copy this dependency. It is same what has been defined over here. So after products, you just have to add this dependency block. Just do command S and it will automatically download the Swift Godot dependency with the help of Swift package manager. We don't have to do anything. Over here you will see in few seconds, here you can see dependencies have been downloaded. Once that is done, we have to add the platform iOS version 17. So if you go to the docs, here you can see they have given that. So after the name, you just have to add this platform iOS. They have given it for macOS, we are using iOS. Kept the minimum version as 17 because I tried it with version 15 and it was giving me compile time error. I'm not sure what's the minimum version which Swift Godot supports. Then we have to add this type dynamic after this particular name. So here you can see we just add this. Once that is done, we again have to copy this bit of code. And if you see over here, if I just scroll down here, you can see they have added this bit of code after target name. So after target name, I will just add this particular bit of code. Now I will just do command A, control I, just to improve the indentation a little. Again I will just do command S just to save it. Once that is done, at least at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot does not support Swift version 6. So what I'll do is I'll just change this version to 5.10. But you check the Swift Godot repo. If it already supports Swift 6.0 and above, you don't have to make this change. Once that is done, we'll have to go to mylibrary.swift. So over here, now what I'll do, I'll just cheat a little. I already have the code written. So I'll just copy some code. So I'll just open this, I'll copy this and I'll paste it over here. So here what we are doing is we are importing UIKit as well as Swift Godot. Now this is boilerplate code which you have to write whenever you are trying to integrate Swift Godot, but this should be your own library name. Here is our class called myLibrary and we have annotated it with @Godot so that we can call it from GD script. Then here we have created one signal. With the help of this signal, I will be able to send some data back to Godot side. I have kept it as string, but you can choose whatever for data type you want. Then here I have created a method called create password. It takes a service name and account name, which we will send it from Godot side, as well as the value you want to save. So here we are just calling the save method which I have created. I'll show you in a bit. And we are just passing all the details, and once we have the value in string format, we have to convert it in data format which is required by Swift. So that's what we are doing over here, and once that is successful, I'm just sending a success signal. In case of error, I just send a fail error. If you want, you can use different signal for failure as well, so doesn't have to be that you have to use only one signal. Then here is our read password. So I just get the service name and account name. So here our data will be in the data format. Then here we are converting it to a string format and then emitting the data back to Godot side. And again, here is failure. This is for delete password. So yeah, this is how we delete everything from Keychain for our app. And once everything is deleted, we just emit a signal saying that it has been deleted. Now here I have created an enum called Keychain error, like duplicate entry and unknown. Now this particular bit of code, now I have copied it from a YouTube tutorial. To be completely honest with you, even I don't really understand much of it, because this APIs are very Objective C APIs, which have been somehow made to work with Swift. But yeah, that's the reality. I won't go through all this. I don't even understand all this stuff. This case sec class, case sec attribute service, it's beyond me. So I'll simply scroll through this. Feel free to pause the video and just copy the code. So this is for saving, and this is for getting the data. Okay. So once these two things are done, what next I will do is, now we'll have to create a sh file or a shell file. Now I already mess up already I always mess up creating those files via Xcode. So I will be creating those file via VS Code. Also, if you are seeing lot of errors inside your code, like this or some other errors, ignore this. Like Xcode does not play nicely with Swift Godot. So what I will do is, I will just go to my Godot folder, okay, over here, and I'll just open it inside VS Code. Then again, I'll just paste my cheat sheet over here. Now here inside, if you want, you, like I mentioned, you can create this via Xcode, but I'm not really comfortable. Now to create the shell file, we have to go to this build.sh link. So I will just open this link over here. Now I will just create this particular file, build.sh, and we will just create a new file over here. Then I will just copy all the contents of this file and I'll paste it over here again. So yeah, again, shout out to this guy Stefan, who has helped me a lot. Now I'll just scroll up. We have to make few changes. So firstly, this should be the name of your library. So mine is just my library. Then we also need to add this particular thing called skip macro validation. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. Make sure there is no extra space after this slash, trailing black backslash. So yeah, I mean, if you don't add this, I was getting compile time error, that's why I've added this. Okay, once you add it, just open your terminal, and then we'll have to cd to the library folder which we have over here. So I'll just cd it over here. I'll clear everything out. Okay, and then again I'll go back to my cheat sheet. I'll close this, and here we just have to run this particular command first. So I'll just run this. Then we have to run this particular command. Now I'm not planning to deploy my app to Apple App Store. That's why I'm only generating the debug library or framework. But if you are planning it to deploy to Apple App Store, or you want to run the release mode of your Godot project, you have to generate the release mode as well. So here, instead of debug, you just have to write release and run the command. But for now, I will just run the debug one. So I'll just run this. Now it will build the library for us. This will take a little bit of time, so let it do its thing. In the meantime, what we can do is we can just open the Godot game engine. I will just click create, browse to the Godot folder over here, select the folder, and I'll just name it as my Godot project. Okay, I'll click on create and edit. Then you will have to go to project, export, click add iOS, click on this fix import. You will have to add your App Store team ID. I will enter mine later on, but make sure you add it now. If you want to know how to get your App Store team ID, you can just go to this particular URL over here, and it will help you fetch your App Store team ID. Then Once you have your app store, you also need to enter your bundle identifier. So I can just enter com dot my awesome game dot some game some app, whatever. Typically it should be com dot your company name dot your app name, but yeah, just for simplicity's sake I have, and I'm entering it like this. Okay, so the next thing which we have to do is we just have to create a 2D scene over here, and I'll just create 3 buttons. So something like this. I'll just do command D, and again I'll do command D. Then I will also create one label, because we want to display the password, right, when we try to fetch or call the read method. So I will just do something like this over here as well. Okay, and I'll just save it. Then I will just add a name store button. I'll save it again. Then I will just increase the font size for all 4 of these. I'll save it again. Then I'll attach one script. Then I'll just go to our button. I'll go to our node. I'll click on this pressed. Then button 2 as well. I'll click on this pressed again. Button 3 as well. I'll click on this pressed again. Okay, so this is done. Now I'll just save it. Also, if you see over here, our Godot project is also open in VS Code because I entered the entire Godot folder, right? So inside this Godot project, you will have to create one folder called bin. Again, if you want, you can do it from the Godot game engine. I'm more comfortable via VS Code. And inside this bin folder, we'll have to create a file called mylibrary.gd extension. Again, it should be your own library name. I'll just paste it over here. Now if you try to open this via the Godot folder, it doesn't open. I know there might be some workaround, but by default it is not opening for me. That's why I'm using VS Code, but feel free to use whatever you feel like. Again, now we just have to copy this code and just paste it inside my library.gd extension. Again, if you have generated the release framework, you will have to write release over here as well as over here, but for me it is just debug. Okay, so this is done. Then we'll have to write the actual code. Again, I'll cheat a little bit. I already have the code from my practice project, so I'll just copy that and show it to you. So firstly, we'll have to get hold of our library as well as our label. So that's what I will paste it over here. So for one variable for our library, I'll just expand this a little. Once that is done, inside the onReady we have to initialize our library as well as attach the signal as well. So I will just paste it over here. So here is our library. We are instantiating our library and connecting the signal as well. So here we'll have to create this method. So this method gets called every time we send some signal from Godot side to from native iOS side to Godot side. So I'll just paste this particular method over here. And here I have these 3 buttons, and on click of it we just call the respective method. So first is create password, sorry, I mean save password. I should have named it better, but hopefully you got the point. So this is the service name, this is the account name. Typically make sure you pass it as your bundle identifier. It can be anything, but make sure you be consistent with whatever you add. Service name, account name, and this is our password which I'm trying to save. Okay, the next one is for fetching the password. So the service name and account name should be the same what you have passed it inside your create password method or save password method. And the last one is for delete one, so I'll just delete it. Here I'll just paste everything. Now if I just open my terminal, here you can see this also has been successful. So what I can do is I can just go to my Godot folder over here. I will just go to my library, bin, iOS. I'll just copy these 2 files. I'll go back to my Godot project, bin, and here you just have to paste it. Once that is done, what next step I'll do is I'll just manually create one iOS folder as well, because we want to export the iOS project from Godot and it will create a lot of files, so I don't want to get confused. So I'll just go back to project, export, export project. Here I will just go to iOS, and here I'll just click on save. Now this will take little bit of time to export. Let it do its thing. Once that is done, I'll come back. Okay, so here you can see my export was successful. Now I will just go to my iOS folder, and here you just have to double click on this .xcode proj file, and it will automatically open it inside Xcode. Now make sure you run this on a real device, so I will just run it. The reason why I think it does not work on simulator, because it requires Vulkan and all that stuff. In the meantime, I will just mirror my iOS device as well. So here is my iOS device. Now we are running the debug IPA. That's why it takes a little bit of time to boot up. I think for the very first time it gives us a warning as well, and sometimes I have to run it twice. Yeah, let's just wait for this. Okay, so here you can see it is giving me this. I think there will be one more, or maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, one more. So here you can see. Now I'll just run it again. Hopefully this time it works. Okay, did my app crashed or what? Could not. Oh yeah, I did a silly mistake. I do this every single time. We have to run this application once from Godot game engine, because I have not set my root scene right. So I'll quickly run this. Select current. Okay, so now this current scene is selected. Now I can export project, export, export project. I'm already in the iOS folder. I click on save. Okay, override it. Now Xcode will start jumping. Yeah, so use version on disk. Now let it finish. Okay, don't run it now, even though this Godot export is not done yet. So I'm trying to click on it. If you see over here, it is still not exported. Okay, so it has been exported. I don't know what these errors are all about. Let's see. I don't think these are just false positive according to me. I think it is for macOS, which is fine. Now again, I'll just go to my project, and I'll just try to run it. Hopefully it runs this time. Okay, so here is our app. I'll just click on create, sorry. So it has created. I'll click on read now, and here you can see this was the password which we are saving. I'll click on delete, so it has been deleted. I'll try to click on read again, and I'm getting failed to read. If I click on create again, I'll click on read again. Here you can see this is the password which we saved. So hopefully you got the point. Thank you for watching. Bye.